Hey, it's Benji Cole, son of Al Cole from CBS Radio and host of the syndicated talk show, People of Distinction. The talk that gives you an in-depth view of some of the most dynamic, intelligent, and successful people on the planet. Run to our website, alcoleenterprises.com for more info. Email me through benji@alcoleenterprises.com if you'd like to get involved with what we have going. And as always, please continue to like and follow our broadcasts. People of Distinction is internationally syndicated solely due to the love and support that you all continue to give. We're available across all major distributors, and as long as you keep following, we're going to continue to put out the content. Now sit back and strap in, because on the line with us today, we have the impressive Michael E. Appia. And we're going to be discussing his incredible book, A Day, Quotes, Opinions, and Other Poetic Leanings. It's Amazon. It is a whole host of other places, man. Type it into a search bar. You're going to be greeted with all of them. And not only is this fantastic book what you need to pick up right now, you need to check back in frequently, man, because Mike isn't finished. This book is just the start, but he has a novel that's still in creation, so it's not available for purchase just yet. But check back in frequently, man, because that one, I promise you, is going to be just as gripping. It's called Sophie's Family. You're going to want to add it to your shelf the moment it becomes available. Again, check back in so you can do just that. And I quickly want to point out the fact that Mike was brought to us by one of the best publishing firms in the business, Author Reputation Press. So for my writers out there who have gone through their process, if you need some assistance moving that masterpiece you developed, head on over to authorreputationpress.com and gather all the ways that their fantastic team is going to help move your creative endeavors. And listen, people, it is an absolute pleasure to have Michael here on the line. Man, listen, his book is going to be one you're not going to be able to put down. First and foremost, it's a quick read, all right? So it's not going to keep you there for long, but Mike is a people watcher, okay? He likes to observe, and I'm right there with it, because I know you all can relate. Maybe you're just like me, man. Sometimes you're in a crowded place. Maybe you're in a mall. Maybe you're at a restaurant. Maybe you're somewhere, and you just take a moment to look around the room. You take it all in. You observe what is happening. This collection is that, but it's so much larger, man. It is more than a book. It is a conversation starter. It is a mirror to society and a whisper of wisdom in a noisy world, okay? We are gonna unravel the thoughts behind the words, exploring the inspirations, the challenges, and the unflinching truths that shape his fantastic work. And by the time we've concluded, you're not only going to be having conversations with those around you, but you may just stop and do some people watching yourself, okay? I hope you do. It is a vibrant world we live in, and there is a lot happening, and sometimes we miss so much of it. This book is going to help us stop and reflect. Sit back and strap in. Here we go. Michael, first and foremost, welcome to People of Distinction, man, and thank you very much for being a guest. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me. I appreciate that.
Of course. Mike, listen, man, we're looking forward to this discussion, man. I think your book balances philosophy, humor, and so many other aspects, man. So it is a delight to have you here. We're looking forward to this discussion. Start first and foremost on that ground floor. Tell us more about yourself and your background.
I appreciate that, Benji. Yeah, I was born in Barbados. I came here as a little kid. I don't think I had anything having to do with saying, I'm not going to go over there, because I had taken these tests, these comprehensive tests in Barbados. These tests would allow for you to go to schools that have been established, it seems like, for centuries. And when I was in primary school, the headmaster, he kept bugging me. He kept, Mike, I keep hearing great things about you, because they grade the tests and they have privileged information and that kind of stuff. And I'm like, man, leave me alone. So sure enough, I made it to one of the top 5 high schools in Barbados. It's still there. It's in Christchurch, Barbados. It's called Foundation. And I made it to that school, and my mom and dad, they were already here. So it was like, we need to get y'all over here as well. It wasn't a matter of time before they were like, you guys are coming. So I felt really bad, because I had to leave the school that I just started. And the thing that struck me about when my time came to leave, all of the boys wanted my desk. I'm like, why y'all want my desk? So apparently I was like, I'm not going to pick and choose which one of y'all get the desk. Y'all going to have to work that out for yourself. So I came here, and the thing that struck me was that my dad had this big old Funkin' Wagnalls encyclopedic dictionary. And as I mentioned on one of the pages in the book itself, it struck me that it was torn and tattered. It looks like a lot of folks were digging into the book. I don't know where he got it from. He might have got it from a friend or what. So I say, let me check this thing out. Now, I wasn't so much glued, Benji, to the dictionary. The back of the book had this wealth, this resource, which had to do with quotes. And I started reading those things, and I'm like, wow, man, this is unbelievable. This is real wisdom. This is something that I could use. This is something that could help me grow, help me to learn. And that's when I got into seeing about the written word and the things that really matter. Yeah.
Love that. Okay. So, Mike, listen, man, I'm picking up what you're putting down. I'm following you down this rabbit hole. Would it be fair to say that was the precipice? This was so long ago, so I don't know if I would necessarily say it's fair to say it's the precipice of the creation of this book, but clearly the precipice of your love for, as you mentioned, the written word and language. Fast forward now to a day. What inspired this creation?
Real good question. I've often been an avid reader, and I think reading helps you to write. And with that, maybe I carried that wealth of information as to the creative process. I carried that all the way, and I sat on it for a while, and I said to myself, I probably can put my little two-piece out there and see what happens and see if there's something that is relatable to other folks as well. And I was sitting on this for a while, and I wrote, and I had things on pieces of paper. I would go out to dinner, and I would say, man, could you pass me a napkin? And I would write on the napkin and make sure that any water or anything didn't mess up the ink, because when I go home, I got to try to figure it out and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
So I kept these little pieces of paper, and when it wasn't on paper, I would go to the computer and jot things down, and I would pull out these pieces of paper and splice it into to what I'm typing on the computer. So it was a cumulative effort in terms of gathering those ideas and just, you know what, Mike, just do it. Just set it down and see what happens from there.
Mike, it's interesting, man. Like you, of course, are not the first person to say that. And famously, I think J.K. Rowling would do that with the Harry Potter books, right? She would initially start by writing it like on napkins or something. And listen, from an artist perspective, I get it, right? When that inspiration hits you, man, it's like a freight train, and you need to jot it down. You got to get there. But every time I hear people say that, I'm looking at it, I'm like, man, wait, was this before cell phones? Because people, you don't got to make it so hard on yourself, man. There's a notepad in the phone.
Yes. Yeah.
You could just take it there. But listen, one way or another, it got taken down and it made it to the page. Yeah. And that's where we are now. My follow-up question here for you, Michael. You have all of these moments, these whispers of information and inspiration that can get jotted down. But of course, when it comes to the culmination of this book, not everything gets to make the final cut, right? There's editing. There's things that you got to cut the fat. I'm curious to know, man, while you were developing this, how did you decide which moments or ideas were worth preserving in this collection?
Yeah, you know what? I honestly think that it has a lot to do with the thought process as well. Because as you said, not everything that you write is good. And I tend to think that I could be like my worst editor, because there are times I'm writing something and I'm like, oh, I think this might need some work. And there are times you get it right and you don't touch it at all. But it comes right back to the feel of it. Is it saying exactly what I want to have said? Is it touching on a level that it's relatable? Has someone been through or seen something like this before? Because I tend to think a lot of us are writers. Sometimes we may not have the time to jot things down or even recall something, but a lot of us tell stories. Grandmothers tell stories to their grandchildren, fathers to their sons and daughters, mothers as well. I think we all have some kind of penmanship in us. It's just a matter of taking that time to put the word on paper. And I'm old-fashioned as well, too. Travel with a pen I might not have paper, but that trusty napkin might come along. I'm not going to forget the technology that we have now that makes it much easier. But yeah, that's where it stemmed from, just being old fashioned, and that the keen eye for observation is what helps me a lot, Benji.
People, I'm telling you, you got to pick up copies, man. Again, it's Amazon. It's a lot of other places. The book is called A Day: Quotes, Opinions, and Other Poetic Leanings. While you're at it, check back in. Remember, there's a novel on the horizon as well. That one is going to be called Sophie's Family. Head on over, pick up your copies there today. Mike, my follow-up question, man. We know right there in the title, this book hints towards not only your opinions, not only quotes, but of course, some poetry there. If you have one readily available, myself, my listening audience, man, we'd love to hear some.
Yeah, give me a second. I'll share two with the good folks. This first one here, okay. So this one is short, but it resonated when I actually put the words onto paper. And this one is from the book itself. It says, pleasures are not only foundational, they magnify the senses. And I'll share one more. And that's one of the reasons why I put poetic leanings, because it does have some poetry slice into the body of the work itself. It's not just the poetry, but yeah. All right, so this one here. The water flowed from streams yonder, bringing forth dew to my thirsty lips.
Mike, I'm curious, man, with those two, the two, like you mentioned, right, poetic leanings or quotes, right, they could come across as almost mantras or affirmations of sorts. I'm curious to know, man, first and foremost, let's hone it in with those two specifically that you shared with us. What were the inspiration for them, or what do those particular leanings mean to you?
I love your observation, your question in there. It goes back to the thought process. Sometimes if you sit and think, is I've often been one, if you sit and think, your creative process slow. It could have been a movie you might have seen maybe 30 minutes ago, or even a movie you might have seen last week or sometime before. But maybe sometimes it's one that's pretty recent, and you start to think about what that movie was about. How did the dynamics affect me? Did it have any truth to it? And I feel like what the director was saying and those kind of things.
Yeah.
For me, I mean, everyone is different, but for me, it's just where I may have some quiet thoughts. The words would start to unravel themselves, and it's just me being conscious enough to make sense of them, and lucky enough to have a piece of paper, or maybe if I'm at the type on the computer to jot them down. Because the thing about it, I've found you may get some flow of information, and if you don't have the tools to write that down, sometimes it doesn't come back the same, whether it's a comma or a semicolon or something there. It's like goodwill that you have, that you can jot that down at the time, because you may be searching and searching to see if you get it back. And sometimes you don't get it back the way it came in the first place.
Mike, my follow-up question, man, that I want to go into. While we were doing research in preparation for today's interview, the back of the book almost comedically references T.S. Eliot a couple of times.
Yeah, one of my favorites, yeah.
And it got me thinking, man, listen, it could be T.S. Eliot, or you could choose somebody else entirely for this next question. But if you had the opportunity to have one person, either living, dead, or even fictional, read your book a day, who would you choose, and what discussion would you hope to spark with them?
I probably would have maybe 2 or 3.
Okay.
But if I had to choose maybe one at the top of my list, it probably will be T.S. Eliot. And for instance, The Love Song of J. Alfred Prufrock. I remember reading that thing in high school. the thing that struck me about that was how one of his characters, and this is proof rock, he's actually contemplating falling in love. And one word, that one line, I may gobble it a little bit, but the essence of it still rings true. Should I dare disturb the universe? Because the boy, he's thinking about falling in love. And I'm like, wow, that is so profound. That this guy falling in love with the girl, he's going to disturb the universe where he becomes like her knight and shining armor, and not know how her life has been lived before. So that profundity strikes me. He's one as well.
Yeah.
Maybe even having a conversation with folks that write music as well, whether it be Schubert or even Bach, who was very religious, because the creative process is very, to some degree, it's instinctual, but it's also very spiritual as well too. And those are the things that I grab and hold on to. Those are the things that make me feel and live life and want to have more of it. Like Shakespeare said, if music be the food of love, play on, let me have excess of it.
Absolutely.
That is beauty.
Yeah, look, Mike, you people, listen, I know you're hearing this man spit. Mike is a soulful brother, man. He talk about T.S. Eliot. He went to Shakespeare. He brought up Bach. This man is a deep, soulful brother. There is nuance here, and the words on those pages are going to have you reflecting so much. You're going to jump from spectrum to spectrum, man. I'm telling you, there is so much happening here. My last couple of questions here for you, Michael, as we close out. A straightforward one, but I'm curious to know, who would you say is your intended reader for this book, and what are you hoping that they take from it after they finish it, man?
I would love to have as many folks read it as possible, men, women. There are some things where it may get a little bit harsh, but that's where a mother or father's direction perhaps can give the essence of the meaning, because it's not all where everything is fine and dandy and prim and proper. It does shed a stark reality on some of the things that are happening today, which may be something a lot of us don't fully agree with. So there may be a word or two where if the mother gets the book and she's let me read it before I let you read it, that's fine. And if she reads it and sees there's something, I'm sure as a mother with guidance, she can make sense so the child understands. And maybe the child might have heard something before. And so it's not going to hide where folks don't quite see what's going on around them. So I wanted to put a bit of reality in the book itself. Yes, it has where it has like I would say like a metaphysical, where you can, like when you read something, it takes you away to another world. There's nothing wrong with that. You know, we all dream.
Yeah.
We all want better. But I intend for as many folks as possible. It's thought-provoking. At least I hope it is for a lot of us. Because I spent time to exhaust my thoughts and get it right. As many folks that can read it. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to give a little bit more by my meaning and my thoughts as to why I did it in the first place.
Michael, listen, man, I'll tell you one thing. It definitely is thought-provoking. This book it's a call to experience life, right? It's a spark to ignite deeper thought and bolder living. Like, I think the two poetic leanings that you shared with us before were deep. They were profound. And one thing that I love just about art in general, not just writing, but just across the board, art is open to interpretation. And the way I view one of your quotes or opinions may be vastly different from someone else. And I personally think that is where so much of the power in your book lies. And that's where the conversation is going to live and breathe, is when readers read your words and have discussions and they come up with different perspectives, man. it's going to be a beautiful thing. It's like a fine wine that just gets better with age through the conversation and as it evolves. People, I'm telling you, this book is going to have you reflecting. And most importantly, it's going to have you talking. And can we just talk about the fact that we don't really seem to have productive conversations anymore? I don't understand what's happening. Maybe there's something in the water right now, but we are so divided, man. This book is hopefully going to help bring us back to the center. And I want those varying opinions. I want you to articulate yourself, man. As long as we're operating from a perspective of respect, man, I don't care. I like it. I don't want you to think like me. I don't want you to see the world through my eyes, because that's my opinion. That's my viewpoint. Show me yours. Man, I'm telling you, this book is...
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. People, listen, I appreciate him being here with us. I'm going to say it for you again. It's Amazon. It's a lot of other places. Once again, the book is called A Day: Quotes, Opinions, and Other Poetic Leanings. Check back in for Sophie's family. And listen, hopefully a lot more on the horizon. But you know where it begins. Head on over there and pick it up today. Michael, this has been a true pleasure, man. An absolute delight. Thank you once again for being a guest. People of distinction.
Thank you. All the best. Thanks.